Inside the dark room, only the flickering light from a candle on the old wooden table illuminated the space. Thomas sat quietly, his hands gripping a crumpled letter tightly. His voice was hoarse from sleepless nights, his eyes staring out the window where the mist crept over the rooftops of Hollowford. Outside, the church bells tolled slowly, as if counting down to something about to happen. The letter contained messy handwriting and signed, but Thomas knew exactly who it was from. The smell of the ink and the shaky script belonged to Eleanor, his childhood friend who had now become the wife of the enemy he despised most. The letter not only recalled memories of youth but also warned of a conspiracy that could change the fate of the entire region. Thomas knew that once he finished reading this letter, there would be no turning back. Past, present, and future would collide, pulling him into a whirlwind of betrayal, honor, and power. And if the people of Hollowford learned the truth, they would never see him the same way again. Blood boiled in his veins, fueled by both fear and the urge to confront. On the wall, an old map of the town was pinned with dozens of red pins, each location, each name, each secret quietly waiting to explode. The next morning, Hollowford remained shrouded in thick mist, but the central market was unusually restless. Rumors of a disappearance spread like wildfire. The son of a wealthy merchant had vanished just before the biggest land auction in 20 years. Thomas entered the Black Kettle Tavern, a place where stories were often exaggerated, but sometimes hid terrifying truths. In a corner, a few men wearing dark cloaks whispered and glanced at him warily. The innkeeper, Mrs. Maribel, quietly handed him a cup of tea, her voice low. "If I were you, I'd stay away from this, Thomas. Someone's already dead." Thomas placed Eleanor's letter on the table, hiding the signature. He asked, "Who died?" Mrs. Maribel glanced around, then leaned in to whisper. "The town's former inspector. The only one who knew the secrets of the Ashbourne family." The name Ashbourne stunned Thomas. It was the family of Eleanor's husband, the ones who had held economic and political power over Hollowford for decades. If the disappearance and death were connected to them, then the letter he received was not just a warning, it was a challenge. He left the tavern, stepping onto the rain-soaked cobblestone street. In the distance, the Ashbourne manor loomed through the mist like a great beast lying in wait for its prey. Thomas knew that once he stepped inside, everything would change forever. Thomas entered the grand hall of the Ashbourne manor, where ancestral portraits lined the walls, seeming to glare at him with judgmental eyes. Eleanor stood there, her expression a mix of regret and determination, looking at him with a choked voice. "Thomas, you shouldn't be here. They know about the letter now, and they do not forgive traitors." Thomas felt the cold air press around him, footsteps echoing through the vast room as if reminding him that every word could become a dagger. Eleanor revealed the dark truth: the Ashbourne family had sold their souls to dark forces to maintain power. They were linked with outlawed groups, spreading fear throughout the town. The letter was her final cry for help before being forced into silence. Thomas looked deep into Eleanor's eyes, knowing beneath her gentle appearance was a warrior willing to sacrifice. Outside the window, the gray sky seemed to understand their pain, the wind howling through ancient trees, signaling a great storm approaching, not just in the sky but in the hearts of everyone here. The candlelight flickered in the small room of the Black Kettle Tavern, matching Thomas's quickened breaths. He knew every moment of hesitation was a step back into the dark shadow Ashbourne cast over the town. But he was not alone. Through secret midnight meetings, Thomas gathered a small group of fishermen, blacksmiths, and merchants willing to fight for Hollowford's future. They sat around the wooden table, hands tightly clasped, courage flashing in their eyes amid intense tension. Thomas spoke with a voice trembling but resolute. "We cannot let fear control our lives. Ashbourne thinks they've won, but they don't know the human spirit is fire, and fire never dies." A detailed plan was made. Under the cover of night, they would secretly infiltrate Ashbourne's secret archives to find evidence exposing their crimes. But they knew each step was a gamble with their lives. Failure would mean not just their doom, but the town's eternal darkness. Outside, dim street lamps glowed through the drizzle, shadows of strangers gliding past the narrow alley, whispers of danger mingling with the cold air like knives. Thomas gripped Eleanor's letter tightly, eyes fixed on the closed window, where beyond it, Hollowford's fate awaited his decision. The stormy night rain seemed to wash away years of buried grievances. Thomas and his allies quietly approached the Ashbourne manor for the final time. Heavy footsteps creaked on the old wooden floor, labored breaths, and flickering lantern light tracing shadows like ghosts of the past watching every move. When they opened the door to the storage room, the flickering light revealed dozens of documents, letters, and evidence of crimes. But soon, the sounds of guards' footsteps and shouting erupted fiercely. A life-and-death confrontation broke out, loyalty versus betrayal. In a decisive moment, Thomas looked deep into Eleanor's eyes, no longer just a friend but an unwilling ally. Together, they plunged into the fire, fighting not only for themselves but for Hollowford's future. The next morning, as the sun rose over the grey horizon, the walls of Ashbourne trembled with the cries of townspeople standing up and seizing their freedom. Eleanor's letter and the dark files were revealed to the public, uncovering long-hidden truths. Hollowford began a new era, its scars from the past a lesson never to forget. And Thomas, once seen as a traitor, became a symbol of courage and steadfastness. On the cobblestone streets, laughter rang out again, not whispers of fear, but promises of a brighter future.